What's up? Welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to be talking about these adjustable dumbbells from Feierdun. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but could these be a home gym solution option for you? That's what we're going to find out. Let's get into it. Okay, so these dumbbells go all the way from 5 pounds all the way up to 52.5. Starting at 5 and then 2.5 pound increments all the way till you get to about 20, or excuse me, all the way to about 25, and then all the way up to 50 and 52.5. Now, the one thing about these dumbbells is you do have to pay attention that there are dials on both sides. So that means that both of these dials have to be synced correctly or you might get an off-balance dumbbell. The other thing you want to consider too is that the base itself is extremely important for the function of these dumbbells. Now, these dumbbells are made out of plastic. There are metal pieces inside of them. I don't think that they would handle very much a good dropping, let's say from a real heavy dumbbell or dumbbells that are just specifically one weight. But they are decent enough to make sure that you start at 5 pounds and move all the way up to 52.5. So the overall cost for a set of these dumbbells on Amazon runs about $389.99. The amount of space that they take, you can see I got a tape measure right here, and no matter what you do, you will always be at the 16-inch length. So even if you're at 5 pounds, which I will demonstrate here, so even still, if I'm at the 5 pound increment, which is the absolute lowest, you can see how the dumbbell works and how they grab the weights. So no matter what, you're going to be dealing with a 16-inch length, which depending on your circumstances, for me, I'm 5'10", I've got a little bit shorter arms. So when I'm doing any type of chest flies or dumbbell presses, I do run into the issue where I bump these. Now the good news is when I do bump these is there is a rubber coating on these selector knobs, which aid in the fact that you probably won't damage the dumbbells. So now starting off at 5 pounds, I'm going to show you how the selectors work. Here's 7.5 pounds, so you can see how the difference is. And in the inside there, all those internals are plastic, so there is this piece of metal right here. However, I believe it's just maybe thinly chrome plated pot metal, but that's probably to add in any type of rust. As you can see, I'm always working out in my garage. And in Florida, there's a lot of humidity, so time will tell to see how these things will hold up. In the center of the dumbbell itself is a very nice rubber grip, which is reminiscent of some hex dumbbells that I have, such as these RIT fits. These are knurled, these are 100% metal, it's 100% stainless steel inside of there. Totally different feel. These are not adjustable dumbbells, but they have a very similar grip texture and feeling. It's just, you do squeeze this, you can see my fingernail does make a mark, so they are a little bit spongy, which for some people, they find that very comfortable. So definitely very I want to say callus making. So that's pretty cool with these Feierduns. All right, going back to how these plates are made, you get a nice up close look. They are definitely plastic coated. I'm not 100% sure if they're steel on the inside of these things. When I tap them, I do feel a vibration, which means that there's a possibility. They may be made out of sand. I'm not 100% sure, but I know you can see how these are right here. This is a 7.5 pound by what it says in the marking right there. So that's how these dumbbells adjust. A little bit closer view on the inside. You can see how these dials rotate to capture the weights. And also the locking mechanism, which the stand provides. So you can see this little tooth mark right here, almost like it's a starter on an engine transmission of a car. This tooth mark is vitally important in order to make sure that you can have selectable dumbbells, because right now it's not in the sand. I can't move this. It does wiggle a little bit. You can see that this is what you're probably going to be dealing with if you're flinging these weights around. So there is a little bit of play. Even more expensive dumbbells that I reviewed in the past still have this same type of, I don't know if it's the machining, it's just because you do have to figure out that there's a lot of moving parts and pieces with adjustable dumbbells. But the flip side is that you get some space savings. Well, the portability of these dumbbells kind of depends. It's not like anything you could put in your suitcase, because they do take up a lot of space. Plus, you need to have these plastic stands. One thing I do want to point out is the plastic stands themselves have these finger holds underneath them. So if you need to pick up the dumbbell, you can pick it up just like that and move it where you need it to be. So the stand itself, the holder itself, maybe weighs a pound, and here's an up-close look of it. It is 100% plastic with some metal inserts there. Like I said, these teeth that allow you to do the switches between the weights and the dumbbells. But that's basically what those are. I'm gonna get right into doing a press with these things. Occasionally I do notice that I have to push down on these dumbbells in order to get these dials to work correctly. I'm at 52.5 pounds now, and what I'm just trying to show is, usually with adjustable dumbbells out there on the market, you can't necessarily rest them on your legs like this. These you can. The way the dials are shaped, it's a little uncomfortable. Those are to be expected because of how the design features are. It's not 100% horrible. It's something I think that I could just deal with and manage. The one thing for me, because my arms are a little bit shorter, I am 5'10" in stature, and I can't remember exactly how long my arms are, but if I'm just doing a regular press, right about here is where the dumbbells stop for me. If you have longer arms, wider chest, you're probably not gonna run into that issue. What I can do in order to get a nice tight squeeze is just like any other dumbbells, bring them in like this, so I don't have that issue. But I do find that I get this little bump. I can slow it down a little bit. You can see that I shake just because my muscles aren't used to doing that in these type of reps. But those are the things that I'm running into with these dumbbells. However, these are going to be great for my wife inside while she's trying to start some of her strength training, because they go all the way down to 5 pounds and they just adjust in 2.5 pound increments all the way up to 25. Great plus. It goes back to the other thing I was speaking of. I'm going to adjust these down to a 25 pound moderate weight for me, so I can not sound like I'm completely out of shape while I'm trying to demonstrate these exercises for you. Just doing some simple rows. The weights do feel comfortable while I'm holding them in my hands, and when I do bring them up to in line just below my jaw, they do work out fine, being at that 16-inch length. So that is really cool. They feel great. I do not recommend dropping them from this height, because I'm almost positive they hit a weird angle, they fall and they hit concrete, they're most likely going to damage the dumbbell, thus rendering them inoperative, and there goes $400 just down the drain. I'm not exactly sure they would replace them from a droppage, but they will replace them based on the warranty for if there's any mechanical issues, such as when you're trying to adjust weight. But doing simple curls, if you can see how far these extend, mind you, this is just 25 pounds, nothing crazy. And I can feel every bit of these 25 pounds because I've already had about an hour and a half workout before I started shooting this video. They get the job done. Okay, one thing I have noticed, in excess of weight that's, let's say 40 pounds or heavier, when I'm going back to replace the dumbbells, and if I've done a really good burnout session, I notice you've got to be very precise placing these things back inside of the footprint where the other weights are waiting. And so these are the weights that are remaining from a 40 pound increment. And when you're a little bit tired, getting them and placing them back, well, that actually went pretty easy. It does take some time to get used to. See, right there. If you're not lined up just right, you'll catch a dumbbell off balance, or excuse me, a plate off balance, and you might get hung up. When you're placing these things back and you want them to line up correctly, just take your time. And my recommendation is, the weight's too heavy for you, dial it down a little bit. I myself, being about 44 years old and having past injuries, I'm not really all about the massive strength gains like I was in my 20s anymore. So pretty much 52.5 pounds is enough for me to maintain. If you're out there and you're over the age of 40, put in the comments what you do to stay in shape, and tell me if things have changed for you or if you feel better. I would love to hear from you. One thing that I find great about these dumbbells is that the way they are shaped and designed, I can actually set up and actually do some overhead tricep extensions, which is great because that will open up a whole bunch of different workouts. There are tons of these adjustable dumbbells out on the market that do not allow this capability. And it's basically because of the shape. And in no way, shape, or form, as long as I don't drop these things and I don't damage them, I don't feel that they're gonna slide or fall apart on me. One of my favorite workouts is to do dumbbells and sit-ups. So back to what I was showing you before, because I mean, you gotta have some significant amount of trust to put this thing over your face. So if you're doing any overhead pull downs, they'll work out quite well. So if you're utilizing a bench, but the thing I love about this is doing basically a stomach press and being able to have adjustable weight for that. So, I mean, ultimately, I think everybody wants to have a full set of dumbbells that are all individually weight and tailored. But the problem is that's exceedingly expensive. I think a good set all the way up to about 90 pounds, or at least a moderate set, is probably gonna cost you about $1,200. And then you don't even have a stand to make sure that they're organized. So adjustable dumbbells usually fit the criteria for everybody's budget, and also their space. Unless if you live in a mansion. And chances are, if you're watching this and you live in a mansion, it's probably aren't gonna be the dumbbells for you. And if you're probably living in a mansion, I'm pretty sure you're paying someone to just work out for you so they could be your bodyguard or something like that. At least, I don't know. My dreams and aspirations would be something like that. I don't know. What do you guys feel about people living in mansions? Does anybody live in a mansion that's watching this? If so, leave a comment. Totally interested to hear about that. So I got them set up now. It's about 10 pounds per dumbbell. Let's go ahead and see how accurate they are. I didn't even think about that. Accuracy probably helps. At the end of the day, weight is weight, gravity is gravity. But I'm sure there's somebody out there that wants to know, is this actually 10 pounds? All right, this scale goes all the way up to 90 pounds. So we'll start off at 5 pounds and see if I can balance it. See what it says. 5 pounds, 1.6 ounces. You're actually getting a little bit more than you paid for there. All right, let's go to 7.5. 7 pound, 11.3 ounces. Pretty good, and there's actually a little bit more weight in there. So they aren't lying on their advertising, they're just giving you a little bit more. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump up to 20 and see what happens. 20 pounds and 8.5 ounces. All right, cool. We are definitely on a positive trend. Let's go straight to 40. See what we get. Ugh, that feels like 40. 40 pounds, 5.8 ounces. Outstanding. And all right, what do you guys say? Let's go straight to 52 and a half. Where are you, 52 and a half? There you are. 52 and a half. Boom. All right. 53.36 ounces. So you're getting a little bit more than you pay for. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna compare it to the other dumbbell, and I'm just gonna go straight to 2.5. 52 and a half. 53, 1.2 ounces. Okay, cool. So they're both in the positive. That tells me the machining is pretty consistent, and I like that. So, and I love the way they're shaped, because I can get into some sumo squats. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could do with these dumbbells. So it's really up to your imagination and what you do when you work out. And also, I think because they go all the way down to 5 pounds, these are really good dumbbells for a beginner. I mean, probably I would recommend these really highly to a beginning weightlifter. And then maybe you could sell them later and graduate to you getting your all the way up to 150 pound individual dumbbell set, which will probably run you about $2,500. But so I definitely like them. I think they're very well built. I know that my wife will get some really good use out of them. I do have my power blocks over there, and I also do have a video on these Flybird adjustable dumbbells, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Feierduns are 10 times better than these, just because these start at 12.5 pounds. They go up to 52, but they're really long, so they can be kind of cumbersome. Just something to consider. Now, every once in a while, they do run a deal on these. I would sign up for their email. You can go to their actual website, which I believe is feierdun.com, and you can get emails to you with coupon codes, and therefore you don't have to pay full price $3.89. And it also probably comes with full shipping. If you buy them on Amazon, which I have a link down below, you're going to go ahead and exercise your Prime free shipping, well, membership shipping, and they'll show up to your house. They're packaged very well, fully assembled. The only thing you have to do is take an Allen key to separate them and then be able to use them for obvious reasons, for the stowage while they're, you can imagine these things could fall apart sitting in one of these, and especially with how FedEx delivers them. Ugh. Well, that'll do it for these Feierdun adjustable dumbbells. I got them set for 20 pounds right now. If you like this video, you guys know the drill. Leave a comment, like it, share it. Subscriptions always help. I do have links down in the description if you would like to purchase these. That always helps the channel. I got tons of more workout, gym equipment reviews. I'll go ahead and put that video here, and then I've got other stuff that I do here. I really appreciate you taking the time to check this stuff out. Otherwise, John the Pilot. See ya.